But Mike Barnicle, Baltimore, from this tragedy, Mike, we've actually started to have a real conversation. I've seen it from conservatives and liberals that actually are trying to come together. A fascinating article in the New York Times by Ross Douthat, who, and then Ezra Klein, I think, linked it and said, hey, here's a great primer on poverty. And this is what those two seemed to come to an agreement on. The anti-poverty programs that Lyndon Johnson started in '65 actually have been successful in reducing rates of poverty. And Ross said, you just look at the numbers, and there's no doubt that's the reality. But those same anti-poverty programs have failed miserably in lifting the truly disadvantaged up to a position where they can move towards the middle class. So liberals are right to say that anti-poverty programs have reduced poverty, and conservatives are right to say that some of these same programs may help foster a permanent middle class. And from that starting point, the two can come together, maybe, and figure out how to move forward and learn from what's worked and improve on what hasn't.
Well, Joe, history has proven, as you just pointed out, that we can indeed reduce poverty. The trick is, and all you have to do is walk around parts of Baltimore or New York or Boston or any major city, and including rural America, the trick is to increase opportunity, access to opportunity. Access to opportunity comes through enhanced education, relocating, state after state after state. South Carolina is just granted tax relief to Volvo to build a brand new plant. They're going to employ up to 1,000 people quite quickly, I understand, just from reading about it. The trick is it's going to be outside the city. The trick is to get these companies, to give them the tax breaks, but to put their plants, whether it's an automobile plant or building new batteries, whatever, in an inner city, and thus give you the opportunity to go to work close by where you live. Opportunity is the key here. We can reduce poverty, but we have to increase opportunity.
And Gene Robinson a couple of weeks ago talked about how Marion Barry, who's often derided and whose memory's often derided, put a massive government building right in the middle of a part of D.C. that was dilapidated. Growth grew up around it. Then you had what was then the MCI Center, now the Verizon Center, in another area that had had some trouble. And Washington, D.C. is unrecognizable, Willie, from what it was when I was there from 1994 to 2001. Change can be made, but it's not going to come just from a governmental program. That doesn't work, and it's also not going to come from people saying, oh, you know what, let's just cut taxes and grow the economy and make people pull themselves up by the bootstraps. That doesn't work when you have no bootstraps to start with.
Yeah, and I would go back to something Mike touched on, which is schools. We have to do better with public education in America. There are a lot of people working very hard on this problem, but it starts there. And if you don't graduate high school, you're much less likely to get a job, more likely to go to prison. It goes on and on. It cascades down. We've got to fix our schools, and we'll help a lot more.